point because our babysitter was secretly living in our house. Now things are going missing and being misplaced. And after looking around for any suspicion that she might have been there again, we noticed a broken lock in the window of our basement. Part 4 of why you shouldn't let just anybody around your kids. So after putting 2 and 2 together and realizing that my babysitter had been sneaking into our house through our basement window, and also noticing that things have been going missing, we called the police and report her because it was just so obviously her. She did not do a good job at all at covering her tracks. When the police look her up, they say she has no criminal record and that she's not enlisted in any housing. So she was homeless. So my parents go ahead and fix the lock on our basement window. I'm guessing once she found out that she couldn't get in anymore, she stopped trying. So afterwards, my parents stopped working as much and I got a friend to start dropping me off at home after my tutoring classes. Once I would get home, I would do all the cleaning just to help my parents out. So then they could keep working their long hours so I could go to college. My parents were kind of iffy about leaving me at home by myself, which I could fight. So everything was good and we never saw her again. Story time about my boyfriend's crazy ex-girlfriend and how she tried to kill me. So I've had problems with my boyfriend's ex-girlfriend multiple times before. First met her when she DM'd me going off on me because I was dating her ex. Well, she apologized and we became really good friends. We actually got really close. We got so close to the point where she actually moved in with me. I even introduced her to my other friends and we all became really close. One day my dad comes over to my apartment and after he left, she was being really weird. She wouldn't talk to me, she was ignoring me, she was being really short with me. Over the next week or so, I noticed my other friends becoming really distant. Well, one of my friends decided to finally talk to me. She told me that my boyfriend's ex-girlfriend told all of them that when my dad came over, he had grabbed her butt and she told me about it. I didn't do anything, which was a fat lie. That's not even the half of it. She lied to everyone about having cancer so she could get money. She tried to start a fight with me because she claimed I stole her stuff. She blocked me after that. Well, one day one of my really close friends that she was also friends with sent me a post she made on her Instagram. She posted a dead dog and captioned it, "My heart is torn. I accidentally ran over my dog." It was my dog. Like for part 2. Part 2 about my boyfriend's crazy ex-girlfriend and how she tried to kill me. So like I said, my boyfriend's crazy ex-girlfriend posted a dead dog on her Instagram, captioned it saying she was so sad she accidentally ran over her dog. Well, it was my dog. At this time, I'm not home, so I immediately go home. Like I said, she lived with me and I could tell that that picture was taken in the front of my apartment. But when I pull up, I see her looking out our window. When she sees me, she runs away from the window. I'm livid at this point. This killed my dog. So I run to get into my apartment and she meets me at the door. She tells me that there's a fire in our apartment, to leave all my belongings outside. So I drop my phone, purse, keys, and we run up to the apartment. She shows me the fire, says she's gonna go get help, and runs out of the apartment and closes the door behind her. Get a bucket and fill it up with water and put some of the fire out. While I think my boyfriend's ex is going to go get help. Well, the fire started growing faster and I needed to ditch and get out of the apartment. When I tried to get out, I noticed that the lock on the door was changed. The part where you put in your key to get into your apartment was on the inside facing me. I didn't have my keys because she told me to leave them outside. Like for part 3. Part 3 of my boyfriend's crazy ex-girlfriend and how she tried to kill me. My boyfriend's crazy ex-girlfriend locked me inside my apartment while there's a fire and I couldn't get out because she changed the lock on the door. So I knew my only choice was to put out the fire unless I wanted to jump out the window. Well, the smoke is getting really thick at this point. The fire had not gotten out of hand yet, so there was still a chance that I could put it out and save my stuff and my life. I know I should have jumped out the window, but I wanted to save my stuff too. So I open up my window and start filling up that same bucket of water over and over again. And I keep pouring it on the fire, damn near about to pass out because of the smoke. The fire eventually does go out. And then I jump out the window because that's the only way for me to get out. But as I'm walking away from the apartment, my boyfriend's ex is standing there and she gives me this look. She was annoyed that I was alive. When the firefighters and the police arrive, the police start questioning everyone, and when they question me, I tell them that she tried to kill me and also put everybody else in the apartment's life in danger too. But after they took her down to the station to question her, she confessed to everything, including killing my dog. Now she's serving time in jail for attempted murder of me and my neighbors. Quick story time. At the time, me and my friend got jumped in the Walmart parking lot. So me and my friend were steady beefing with these 2 girls that went to our school and they were just like mean girls. Like they were literally the definition of mean girls. They always bothered us just to bother us. Child, I might take this wig off. They were just always picking on us and they were just like really mean. So we were just driving around and we ended up at Walmart. And there are those 2 girls. We were checking out and they saw us too and they stared dead at us. Now me and my friend are not fighters. We usually try to avoid the people that hate us so nothing happens. So we hurry up and try to get out of there before they finish checking out. We got as far as our car and then they walked out of the store. And obviously, because they were mean girls, they yelled our names, came towards us, took the bags that we had, threw the shit we just bought everywhere. Like I said, we don't fight, but we had to defend ourselves. But we're not good at fighting, so we're getting beat up. And one of their friends comes out of their car and joins in. Wigs are being snatched, eyelashes are getting ripped off. It's a mess, honey. Eventually, a Walmart security guard told us that we had to leave, or they were gonna call the cops, and then we got banned from Walmart forever, so Let me tell y'all how I ruined my uncle's engagement proposal while I take off my makeup. So basically, my uncle threw a little get-together, invited my family, obviously. At that get-together, he was planning on proposing to his soon-to-be fiance. He brought out a really big cake, and that cake had whipped cream on it. Okay, best believe I dived in. Listen, I'm not a big fan of icing, but I might do a backflip for some whipped cream. Everyone got a slice of cake, and it was gone. The plate was completely empty. My uncle starts panicking and looking around. Everyone starts eyeing him because he's acting really weird. Mind you, nobody knew that he was going to propose to his girlfriend. Me and my family end up having to leave early because of my little sister's ballet ceremony. Eventually, my dad gets a call from my uncle basically saying that he was planning the proposal and the ring is nowhere to be found. Now, where did he put the ring, you may ask? Well, it was in the center of the cake, and it was supposed to be a big reveal once everybody took their piece. My parents come to me and ask me if I've seen it anywhere. I told them that I had no idea. And all of a sudden, ooh, I gotta take a shit. When I got to the bathroom, I was blowing up the toilet, okay? I felt something real rough pop out my booty hole. I turn around to look, cause it hurt, and I see a ring in the toilet bowl floating amidst my diarrhea. Part 2 of how I ruined my uncle's engagement proposal while I take off my makeup. So like I said, after I ate the cake at the engagement party for my uncle's proposal, I got really bad diarrhea. And when I go to the bathroom, I shit out the ring. So a lot was going through my mind at this moment. I didn't know if I was supposed to grab it. Do I reach into my diarrhea and take it out? Do I rinse it and then give it back? Or do I just flush and act like I didn't see shit? Who would really want a ring that was sitting in somebody's diarrhea? Even if I rinsed it, even if I washed it with soap, it still had the diarrhea particles on it. There's all different types of creases in rings. So best believe I flushed that shit. Act like that whole thing did not just happen. Well, things took a turn for the worse once my uncle said that he paid $10,000 for that ring. I felt extremely guilty. I'd rather feel guilty than admit to anybody what happened. Until this day, nobody in my family knows what happened to that ring. I will live with this secret until the day that I die.
This is how you order all this delivery food, all these new things, and all this new gaming stuff for ridiculously cheap.
My parents and I moved across the street who used to stalk me. So a little background information. My parents and I moved into a new house that was literally 5 minutes from where I used to live. But I went to private school, and almost all the other kids in my town went to the public school. So I didn't really know a lot of the kids in my town. Well, a week after we moved in, our neighbors across the street invited us to a barbecue. While we were there, I started talking to our neighbor's older son, and him and I started to get along really well. Like, in a flirty way. Their older son was a senior, I was a sophomore, and their younger son was a freshman. Well, I kind of talked to the younger son, but he was just like giving me really weird vibes. So for the next few weeks, I started hanging out with their older son a lot, and we would talk all the time. Well, the one day whenever I went over their house, it was super weird. His younger brother kept saying, "Oh, I think I know you from somewhere. Like, I swear I know you." And I'm just like, okay. Well, the one morning I was waiting outside for my mom to pick me up because she worked night shifts and she would just grab me and then take me to my school. And I saw him in his window watching me, like, for part 2. Part 2 about the boy across the street who used to stalk me. So like I said, I saw him watching me outside his window, but I didn't want to overthink it, so I was just like, no, maybe he's looking at something else. Well, this all started a month after I moved in. Well, it started happening more frequently, so then I told his older brother. We're just going to call the younger brother Mac. So he talked to Mac, and then everything was fine for a week. Just a little information real quick. For the public school, the bus would arrive at 7:40. My private school started at 7 o'clock. So my mom would come and get me at 6:15 because my school was kind of far away. So like I said, it was a week later. Every morning that I would go outside to wait for my mom, Mac would be standing on his porch watching me. Oh, but it gets worse. So one night I was in my bedroom, right? And this is like some scary movie shit. I kept seeing something run past my window. My bedroom was on the first floor. So I told my dad about it and he put cameras outside. Well, Mac's older brother told me that Mac was always interested in my life. So me being a smart ass bitch, I told his older brother that our cameras didn't work, like for part 3. Part 3 about the boy that lived across the street who used to stalk me. So like I said, I told his older brother that our cameras didn't work anymore, knowing that he would tell Mac. because he had it in his head for some reason that Mac wasn't obsessed with me. And the reason why I told him our cameras didn't work was because Mac was watching while the cameras were being set up outside. And after that, everything stopped. Except he would still be outside every single morning on his fucking porch watching me. So the one night while I'm sleeping, I wake up to some noise right outside my window. And my bed was on the same wall as the window, so I could see who was right outside my window, but they couldn't see me. Well, I look, and guess who the fuck it is? It's Mac trying to get inside of my fucking window. So I quietly call my dad, and it's like 3 in the morning. So I tell my dad what's going on, so he goes outside and nobody's there. Well, the next day we check the cameras. There's footage of him jerking off outside my window, trying to break into my room with a fucking crowbar. Luckily, I was staying at a friend's that night. Taking pictures of me outside my window, so we showed his parents. Then we moved and they sent him to a mental hospital.
Story time about one of the most embarrassing things that has ever happened to me in high school. So a little background information. I was in my freshman year of high school. Well, spring break was coming up. Well, the whole year, my friend and I hadn't been to one single party. So we decided that we wanted to try and go to a party every single day of spring break, which was about to be super difficult because we had to worry about my strict ass parents and my neighbors. A little background info on my neighbor. My neighbor is this girl who's in my same grade and she literally hates my guts. I don't know why, but literally anything that I do, she'll go and she'll tell her mom and then her mom will tell my mom because my mom and her mom are best friends. But before we know it, Saturday comes around and we go back to school on Monday. We did not make it to one single party. Well, later that night, we found out that one of our friends was throwing one. So around 11 o'clock, everybody's sleeping, and I walk out my back door, hop over my fence, and I start heading towards the road where my friend was going to be parked. You know, who do I see fucking sitting outside on their porch reading a fucking book? My fucking neighbor. Like for part 2. Part 2 about the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me in high school. So like I said, the bitch that I hate is sitting out on her porch reading a fucking book at 11 o'clock at night. So I crouch down so she couldn't see me. I run to the car and my friend and I finally go to the party. Well, we get to that party and it's really boring, so we decided to go to a different one. And the party that we were about to go through was being thrown by the kid that I really liked. So I start hanging out with him when we get there. I'm drinking a lot, having so much fun, and I really have to go to the bathroom. And I didn't know where anything was at all, so I grabbed my friend and we're looking around everywhere for the bathroom. Because when I asked him, he was super drunk and really couldn't explain to me where the bathroom was. So we were pretty much left to fend for ourselves. But we ended up not being able to find a bathroom, and this is where I had to improvise. So my friend and I go to the laundry room, and we see the litter box in there for the cat. Well, at this point, I was desperate, so I just went in the litter box. Well, 30 minutes later, the cops show up to the party. And everybody had to hurry up and leave because we did not want to get underages. Like for part 3. Part 3 about the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me in high school. So like I said, I went in the litter box and then the cops showed up. We all ran because we didn't want to get underages. I was able to sneak back into my house without anybody knowing. But when I get to school on Monday, everybody's talking about the party. And apparently the kid that I liked who threw the party, his parents didn't know that he threw one at all. And this was like during first period. So I went to text him and ask him if he was grounded because we were supposed to hang out the next day. And I realized that I am blocked. So I'm thinking, why does he have me blocked? So I told my friend that he blocked me, and she goes, it's probably because he saw what you did in the laundry room. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's no fucking way that he knows. Because there was a door that led to the outside in the laundry room, there were cameras in there. So everybody saw this video of me. People were posting it on their Finstas, posting it on their Snapchat stories. It was so fucking embarrassing. Not to mention the bitch that I hate who lives next door showed my parents the fucking video and I was grounded for fucking 4 months.
Storytime about the boy who pretended to like me to get closer to my best friend. A little background information. It was the summer before my freshman year of high school, and my best friend and I got bored of hanging out with the same people, so we got a membership to a new pool. And this one was closer to one of our rival schools, so a lot of people that we didn't know went there. Well, the one day while we're there, we meet this group of boys. And by the way, my friend is super pretty. Like, all the guys immediately gravitate towards her, and I'm kind of like the duff, aka designated ugly fat friend. Anyways, while she's over there talking to all the boys, I'm sitting down at one of the tables. And one of the boys from the group comes over to me and starts talking to me. And he was being super sweet. And then he's like, oh, I don't know why all of them are over there talking to her. Like, she's not even that pretty. He was like, to be honest, you're way better looking than her. Now listen, I know I might seem like a bad friend for this, but I never had that male validation before. So that kind of made me feel good. Well, fast forward, his best friend and my best friend start dating, like for part 2. Part 2 about how this guy used me to get with my best friend. Like I said, they started dating. The boy that I was talking to at the pool, we're gonna call him Luke. Well, Luke's best friend was dating my best friend. Fast forward 2 months, Luke's saying how he wants to date me and stuff like that, but it's not the right time. And every time that I would ask Luke to hang out, he would only hang out if my best friend was there. Red flag alert. Anyways, I didn't see that red flag. So Luke and his best friend go to this party. And apparently I was told that there was this girl there that was really hot. And Luke was saying to his best friend, oh, you should hook up with her. She's totally into you. Your girlfriend won't find out because she doesn't even know any of the people at this party. So he hooks up with the girl there. Then Luke calls me and says, OMG, like he cheated on your best friend. So I immediately call my best friend to tell her. And because she likes to talk to Luke about all her problems, she calls him. So he goes over there to comfort her. I didn't hear anything from them till a week after. My best friend posted him on her story and goes, my new boo. Toxic boyfriend. So when I was in high school, I was dating this boy for 3 months. We're gonna call him Nick. And my friends hated him because he was super mean to all of them, but he was super nice to me. Well, after dating for about a month, he started acting super weird. Like he stopped paying attention to me, he didn't want to hang out with me. And I was going through a depression this time because my dad had just died. I wasn't really doing my makeup anymore, I wouldn't do my hair anymore, and I started gaining a little bit of weight because all I would do is sleep in bed all the time, eat 24/7. Well, soon our 2 months was coming up, and he wanted to go to this party. So I literally begged him to FaceTime me, and I was asking him, oh, what should I wear? So I put on this dress that was really tight fitting, which I was already super uncomfortable about wearing because of the fact that I had a little bit of a belly now. So he picks me up, we go to this party, and I go and I start hanging out with a few of my friends. Well, one of my friends comes over and shows me something that he posted on his private story, Life for Part 2. Part 2 about my extremely toxic boyfriend. So like I said, one of my friends comes over and shows me something that he posted on his private story. It was literally a screen recording of me trying to get the dress on that was super tight fitting. And then a screenshot of my face after when I had the dress on. Because obviously I was upset that it didn't fit the way it did before. And the video said, imagine having a girlfriend that was fat as hell. Ew, I have one. Then the picture of me said, ew, she's sad now, like, go to the gym and lose some weight. On his private story, which had one of my friends, and she was super pretty, and apparently he tried getting with her. That's a whole nother story. So after that, I Ubered home from the party, and as soon as I got home, I started crying, and I told my older brother about it. So he literally drove us back to the party and beat the absolute out of my boyfriend. Well, someone called the cops, my brother spent a night in jail, and my boyfriend got an underage. And my brother won't talk to me now because I'm back with my boyfriend.
One day my great-grandma was dying because she had heart disease, brain tumors, toe fungus, leprosy, diabetes, bowel cancer, stretched earlobes, nipple piercing infection, black lungs, cornea infection, coronavirus, the black plague, the Spanish influenza, frostbite, nematodes, trypophobia, Ebola, saggy skin, morning breath, lysis, you name it. She was old and diseased. The doctor said she had like 3 days left, so my mom started taking photos with my great-grandma on the bed and she was uploading them to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, WhatsApp, Tinder, Tumblr, Wattpad. Like this was really posting my great-grandma everywhere like she was a superstar. Like, relax yourself, you have 4 followers including me and my brother, you don't need to post them on all these platforms. Anyway, she asked me for a caption idea and I said doo-wop, and she then asked what is that? I said it means wishing and praying and she said that's so beautiful and she started crying like, okay, it's not the end of the world, sit the down with your hubba dubba bubba gubba yubba tubba flubba wubba jubba pubba zubba. She made her caption wop for granny, show granny some wop, she's in need for wop, go granny wop, granny wop, granny wop. Like, you stupid, no wonder you have 4 followers, make it 3 because I just unfollowed. Anyways, my great grandma died that evening.
Story time about how my best friend found out that I hooked up with her boyfriend. A little background information. I was in high school, and I was best friends with this girl. We're going to call her M. Well, M and I both had boyfriends, and they were also best friends. But I was super close with her boyfriend, because we had been best friends for like 3 years before they even started dating. Well, the one night we're all at my house, and we're all drinking, having a good time, and I always felt like I had feelings for him, aka my best friend's boyfriend. Well, my boyfriend had to go to his house to get some clothes, and M was the only one sober, so she drove him. So her boyfriend and I are sitting in the living room, and we're gonna call him Nate. Well, Nate and I get to talking, and we were saying how crazy it would be if we started dating. And then I told him that I had feelings for him. And he said that he did too. So we decided to be terrible people and we hooked up. And after that, we definitely knew that there weren't any feelings there. But he went and got a shower because he had my lipstick all over him and he was really sweaty. Then my best friend got back like for part 2. Part 2 of how my best friend found out that I hooked up with her boyfriend. So like I said, her and my boyfriend finally got back to my house. And she goes, "Oh, where's Nate?" And I told her that Nate was in the shower. I told her that whenever he was trying to pour a drink, he spilt vodka all over his clothes. So we're all sitting there and then he comes out in the exact same clothes that he had on before. And she was like, "Oh, I thought you spilled vodka all over your clothes." And he was like, "Oh, we put them in the dryer." So she literally got up, went over and smelt his clothes and they did not smell like vodka. So after that, she starts flipping the fuck out. She's like, "Why don't your fucking clothes smell like vodka?" And then he came up with something. He was like, "Oh, she got confused. I spilled water all over my clothes." So as we're all watching a movie, I realized that Nate has a hickey on his neck. From me. So I started having her drink a lot because maybe she wouldn't remember and she would have thought that she gave it to him. Well, I woke up the next morning and nobody was at my house. And when I went into the bathroom, I saw that all my hair was cut off.
Story time. My boyfriend wouldn't let me break up with him, so I cheated on him with his best friend. So we're gonna call my boyfriend Jay and his best friend Mike. Well, I met these two boys through my best friend, and I really liked Mike. Mike and I would talk all the time. We would FaceTime 24/7. But whenever the subject of dating came up, he said that he couldn't because his best friend really liked me. So he was trying to set me up with Jay, but not really because he really liked me. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll date Jay for a little bit and then I'll break up with him. Worst mistake of my fucking life. Every time I would try to break up with this kid, he would be like, "I'm gonna kill myself now." And he would send me videos with him holding up a knife to his neck, cutting his arms whenever I would say we're breaking up. So pretty much I was forced into that relationship. He was manipulative as It was just not a good situation. Well, the one day Jay was like, "Oh, do you want to come over Mike's house with me?" And of course I said yeah, because I literally was still in love with Mike, his best friend. And my parents were super strict, so I had to sneak over there like for part 2. I was giving Mike a little bit more attention than I was giving Jay. Because obviously I wasn't interested in Jay. So Jay decided to act like he was pissed off at me.
Draw like hard A. The toilets.
Finally dating now.
Okay, story. So one time at school, in the girls' toilets, this girl, let's just call her Diana, went to the toilets. And she had a crush on this guy. Let's just call him Sebastian. So she had a crush on Sebastian. So what she would do every day is in the toilet cubicles, get a pencil, and draw like hearts, his name, her name, and all that weird stuff. Then one day, the janitor was coming to go clean up the girls' toilets. And when he went into that cubicle, he saw all the writing on the wall. He was so mad, and because it was our class toilets, he went to our class. He told the teacher, and the teacher got furious. We all got into detention, and the teacher demanded us to say which one of us did this. I know I didn't do it, and I didn't know anything about it. Then that girl raised her hand and said, Oliver, part 2. Part 2. So as Diana raised her hand, the bell rang. When the bell rang, everyone went to go get ready. And then at recess, I went to go and look in the toilets. I went into the cubicle that Diana always goes into, and I saw that hers and Sebastian's name were in a love heart. That's how I had my proof, and I knew it was her. So in the middle of recess, I went to the teacher. I showed her my proof. Diana got detention for a month. And yeah, follow for more stories, guys.
Hi, my name is Leanne Ryan with Ashley Home Stores, and today we're going to talk about the
Why waking up late might just save your life. One day when I was in elementary school, my mom and I both overslept, which meant I wouldn't be ready in time to get on the bus. School started at 8, my bus pickup time was at 7, and it was already 6:40 or something. I was still in my PJs and hadn't even had breakfast yet. My mom decided that today we would just tell the bus driver to go on ahead and she would take me to school, which would give me plenty of time to get ready. It's 6:50, I'm in my PJs eating breakfast, and that's when we hear the bus pull up 10 minutes earlier than scheduled. My mom peeks her head out of the door into the foggy morning and waves the bus on. She closed the door and came back inside, but the bus didn't pull away. There's a knock at the door, and my mom opens it to find a man in a bus driver uniform. He explains he's a substitute bus driver because the regular driver called in sick and that he's early because he wanted to get an early start on the route. My mom says she's taking me to school because we woke up late. He gets visibly upset and says he can wait a few minutes since he's already ahead of schedule. My mom says that we won't be ready in a few minutes and tells him to go on ahead. He seemed really angry about this, but turned around, got back on the bus, and left. But at 7 a.m., another bus pulls up to my house. My mom went out to talk to them and came back looking terrified. Part 2 of why sleeping in might just save your life. After talking to the bus driver, my mom came back looking terrified, but she didn't say anything about it and told me to finish getting ready for school. At the time, I didn't know what happened, but my mom would end up telling me a few years later. When she went to the second bus, she found out it was being driven by my regular driver and it was full of other kids that are usually on my route. By the way, the other bus was empty. My mom asked the driver about the substitute driver and about him calling in sick. He tells her that he never called in sick and there is no substitute driver on his route. The driver immediately called dispatch in a panic and told my mom to go inside and call the police and report this incident, which she did without me knowing at the time. There was absolutely no one doing my driver's route that day. Whoever this was most likely a kidnapper who had targeted me. I never heard anything about it again, not even if someone else had ended up being picked up by this mysterious fake bus driver. But chances are, had I gotten on that bus, I would never have made it to school or back home. And if we hadn't overslept on that specific day, I would have been on that bus.
Growing up, my bedroom was the only one that faced the front of the house. When I was about 8 or 9, I woke up to my dad calmly but firmly telling me to get up, go in the bathroom, and shut the door. I was annoyed because I was half asleep, but I listened. Apparently I was more tired than I realized, because I fell asleep on the bathroom floor. The next morning I asked my mom what happened. She seemed oblivious and confused. I looked at my dad like she was crazy, and I asked him why he had woken me up. He denied doing it. I was becoming frustrated to the point of tears, but I ultimately let it go. Fast forward to college. I was home one break, and I decided to ask again. I had thought of that night off and on for years, and it still bothered me. This time, my dad goes, "Ha, I was wondering if you even remembered that." Turns out that a lot of houses on our block were being vandalized and robbed all those years ago. Someone had broken into the garage and was inside the house. My room was partially over the garage. My dad heard it happen and quietly got me to safety. Police were called. The guy ran. He was never caught, however, and my parents didn't want a terrified kid on their hands, so for years they pretended like nothing had ever happened. It wasn't supernatural, but it was unsettling for sure.
Okay, so when I was in 3rd grade we had this Chelsea in our class. All the boys wanted to be with her, even my crush, so I was jealous and had to make a plan since I was a bad. So one day I brought a jar of Nutella in my lunchbox, and I was going to ruin this career. I snuck in early from recess and smeared it all over her chair and hid the evidence. When she came inside, she went straight to her chair and sat down. She jumped up and screamed and everyone looked and thought that she shit herself. She cried and didn't come back to school for a week after that. I ruined that musty 3rd grade life. #bad.
This is a story of the time that I caught my neighbor's mom talking smack about me. So I don't know about you guys, but every single Wednesday in my middle school we would have a bagel sale. And some people's parents would come in to help out. And my neighbor's mom was one of those parents. And I had a best friend at the time whose mom would also work at the bagel sales. But this best friend of mine, her mom never let us hang out with each other because she felt that I was a bad influence on her. When in reality, it was the complete opposite. She was the one that snuck the boys in her house, if you guys remember that story time, where they peed in a flower pot. So basically her mom wouldn't let us hang out. And sometimes my friend would go with her mom in the morning, basically as a ride to school, and to help out with the bagels too. And one day when she went in with her mom, my neighbor's mom also was there too. So my friend starts eavesdropping into their conversation, and my friend's mom brings me up and says how much of a bad kid I am and a bad influence. And my neighbor's mom was like, "Oh wow, that's my neighbor, like we always suspected something bad about her, our whole entire neighborhood knows this about her," basically making stuff up about me. So then I go home crying, tell my mom. Part 2 of catching my neighbor's mom talking smack about me. So my best friend tells me all these things that my neighbor was saying about me, obviously. And I got really upset, so I went home and I just started to cry. Because for some reason I felt like when I was younger, every one of my friends' parents hated me. And I never really knew why. I was always the type of person to let my friends do whatever they want and encourage them in doing whatever they want, whether that's breaking the rules or following the rules. So I guess that could be something, but so when I told my mom, she was like, okay, come with me, I'm gonna knock on her door. And I was like, heck no, I do not feel like dealing with this. Mom, you deal with it. So she calls her up on the phone, puts her on speakerphone, confronts her about the situation, and this lady starts going on about how she loves me like I'm her own child, saying that I was never a bad influence on her daughter, and that she actually wanted me to hang out with her daughter more. That's not what she was saying. That bagel said.
Story time of how my boyfriend got my mom pregnant. So to get started with the story, this all happened on me and my boyfriend's 4 years. And he was super duper close with my family. We go on every... I drove to his house, got every single gift I got him, yeeted those things in my car, mine now. That's why I get him gifts that I like just in case I ever have to take it back. Then I blocked him on absolutely everything and ghosted him. So of course I was really, really sad. And I went and stayed with my grandma for about a month because I was very, very upset with my mom. One day while she was at work, I come to my house to get some more of my stuff. And in my bathroom was a pregnancy test. Oh, and it was positive. Comes to find out, it's my boyfriend's baby. Oh, and that reminded me that I needed to take a pregnancy test. And as we're speaking now, I am 8 months pregnant with his freaking baby.
Story time. There was this one time in the 6th grade during gym class I was telling my friend some stupid story about elementary school. After I finished talking, I realized she wasn't even f***ing listening, so I turned around and looked at her and called her. Then this ugly, popular girl turns around and screams, "Did you just call me a?" I turned to face her and I was like, "I wasn't even talking to you, I'm talking to my friend." Then she gets in my face and says, "Stop lying, I know you called me that because you're jealous of me." After she put her nasty, smelly mouth in my face, she ran off to tell her little squad everything. After class finished, one of the girls came up to me and said, "If you're gonna talk about my friend like that, we're gonna have a problem." So I screamed back in this bitch's face and said, "I already told your friend that I wasn't even talking to her and I wasn't even facing her."
Squarespace allows me to control how my work is presented on.
This is my voice. Hi. I am going to be doing another TikTok story time, and I will be doing some of your story times which you guys submitted in the comments on TikTok or on YouTube. So be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into the video. So this first story time was submitted by a friend of mine, and let's begin.
Story time on how my best friend tried to kill me. One day in school, my best friend, let's just call her Ellie, was acting a bit weird. She didn't want to talk to me and was just ghosting me. So Ellie had always been the type to get jealous really, really quickly and would want things to be her way all the time. She also had anger issues, so if something didn't go her way, it could get a lot worse really quickly, if you know what I mean. I was trying to think of what the cause could be for her ghosting me, but I couldn't think of anything. So later that day, I was at home alone and I thought I saw something run by my window. Also, I live far away from other people, so my family is the type to leave the front door unlocked. Then I heard my front door open and close. I thought my mom had come home from work early, so I said, "Oh, hi, Mom." No one replied. I started to panic because my mom would always reply. Then I could hear someone walking up the stairs. I closed my door and locked it. My bedroom didn't have a window, so if they got in my room, I would be trapped. I was hiding in my closet and someone was banging on my door. I heard a familiar voice saying, "Come out wherever you are, you can't hide forever." Then I recognized who it was. It was Ellie. She couldn't get into my room, so she said, "I'll just have to get you out a different way." I didn't come out of the closet until I could smell smoke. I got out of the closet and my entire room was filled with gray smoke. I could barely breathe, so I unlocked my door and ran into my house. No one was in the house when I left. I turned around and looked back towards my house. My entire house was in flames. There was fire everywhere. I called the police and told them what had happened. They couldn't find Ellie anywhere. Next day, Ellie did not show up to school. No one has seen her ever since the incident, and to be honest, I'm pretty glad about that.
Story time of how I got the best revenge on my worst enemy. So basically there was this girl that literally copied my absolute every move. It all started because the boy that she was dating tried to hit me up. So I guess she was trying to be more like me, I guess. And it all started when I got a puppy. Literally 2 days later, she ended up getting a puppy. The same kind of puppy. Then about a week goes on and I dye my hair blonde. Well, I bleach it. And she dyes her hair blonde. Okay, then the next day, I posted on my story about this app that I was using. It's called Fitness Coach, and I was getting my dream body from it. Also, the link to that app will be in my bio. But then not even an hour later, she posted that she was using it. Then I just noticed every single little thing that I did, she would also start to copy. She even started literally copying my outfits head to toe. So once I noticed that, I decided I was gonna try something out. And I bought a bald cap from the store. And then I posted on a private story with only her in it. Ha, guess what happened 2 days later? I'm running out of time for part 2. Part 2, if I got the best revenge on my worst enemy. Continuing on with the story, after I got a bald cap and posted on my private story with only her in it, 2 days later, she shaves her head. So this is the time where I try to confront the girl. Because at this point, it's obvious she's trying to copy me. And after I confronted her about her trying to copy me, she then tried to say that I was the one trying to copy her. And then switch up the whole story. But for about months and months, she continued to copy me. And now here's where the story gets bad. My puppy ended up passing away due to heart failure. And then, of course, I posted about it on my Instagram story. And that night, I was scrolling through, who viewed it. And I see her little fake account. And honestly, I didn't think anything of it. It took a little bit, but 5 days later, I see on her story, "My baby will always have a place in my heart. Rip Moxie." Oh, I named my dog Roxy, by the way. And that's the exact thing I put on my story. Exact words and everything. I don't know what she did with the dog, and honestly, I'm terrified to know. But after that, I blocked her on absolutely everything because I came to the conclusion that she is crazy.
Alright guys, so this next story is submitted by Foodie367.
Story time. How my friend has blackmailed me. So my idiot friend who I hate, Addison, hates my BFFs, and if I hang out with him during school, which I played soccer cause we all play soccer, and she gets on the field right in the middle of the game and says can I play when she does not know a single freaking thing besides kicking, and I want to tell her I don't want to be her friend, but when I say this I mean it. She will tell everyone bad things about me, and she even tells bad things already and is super mean. And I have a crush, right? Well, she knew and decided to move in on him, but we're 10, and so when I told her, she decided to tell the school I was adopted and that my old mom killed herself cause of me, and said I was ugly. So one day me and my 2 BFFs told everyone it was false and told true bad stories. She decided to stop and she never bothered again.
This next story was submitted by Cherry Newt.
Story time on my possibly haunted apartment. So for almost my whole life I've lived in one apartment building, and I've lived there ever since 2 or something. Anyways, back to the story. So this apartment used to be a hospital where many people died. There was a graveyard behind the building that at the time didn't bother me. It was probably because that was my childhood apartment, so I didn't really care. Our apartment was in one of the patient rooms, so it was likely someone had died there. There was a gym area downstairs that had a dark corner that I got bad vibes from, so I didn't really like going there. We moved about 4 years ago, and now that I'm older I always feel like someone is watching me. I'll comment again if there's any more updates on my story.
The next one was submitted by Kimoro.
Story time of how my school went on full lockdown. So I was in elementary school, I was in 4th, 3rd grade, something like that, and I was in the after school program. The teachers told us that we were gonna go in the gym to play tag. There wasn't anything out of the ordinary about that until the teachers barricaded the gym door with mats. Of course we were all interested in what was going on, so we all asked and they never told us. At this point we were all scared out of our minds, and one by one our parents all picked us up quickly from the back door. And of course, since my dad was a cop, he told me about what was going on. Apparently almost every school